What we
to step
need
up?
is for guys to make the play when it comes their way. We need them to do their jobs in all three phases. You know, if you start going outside of the system, trying to do more and make plays and do something outside of the system, it doesn't really work very well. I think Buck's been awesome at having that understanding of what it's going to take, you know, and from the planning, being able to shift, put the ego aside and being able to shift to how he's got to call the game that week, I think that's really cool.
Are injuries going to dictate that a little bit more this week? That you give your stars a bit more of the ball? Like, I mean, when you have some younger guys, I mean, it's not. I'm not saying they're unknowns because they wouldn't be here if they were.
I mean, that's why we practice. That's why we meet, is to get the guys in the right spots, right? So.
But you need your bigger names, I suppose. I don't know. How
What we need is for guys to make the play when it comes their way. We need them to do their jobs in all three phases. You know, if you start going outside of the system, trying to do more and make plays and do something outside of the system, it doesn't really work very well. When the ball comes your way, make your play. When the ball carrier comes your way, make your play. You know, when the guy who you're supposed to block comes your way, make your block. Right? I think the idea of these guys need to make bigger plays. Now, once they get the ball in their hand, or if they happen to, guys happen to make a spectacular tackle that didn't look like they were going to make after doing their job, or a guy makes a spectacular catch that people didn't think he was going to make, that's awesome. That's good for your teammates, right? That's pro football, right? But while that is going on, everybody needs to stick to the script.
Calgary coming off of a bye, but would you kind of just see, what's the biggest takeaway from their first two games, do you think?
Yeah, I think if you were to try to compare them to a previous year, you would think that previous year is an anomaly. They're a good football team. They've always been well coached. They've got a core group of staff members there that are very good coaches. I think they ran into some issues last year that they probably won't even talk about, right? But they look healthy and good, and their groups. When you listen to the various coaches talk about their personnel, they're highly regarded, and we know they're well coached, so they're always tough.
Do you expect Dietrich to play this week?
I certainly hope so. Yep.
He practiced today?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he did.
How do you think the defensive players are picking up what Jordan Younger wants to do, as schematically?
Yeah, I think it goes a little bit in waves. I think there's plays out there where it looks exactly like you want it to look, and it's very, very pleasing when you see that on film. And then there's other points where there's just a little breakdown in communication, an alignment issue or whatever, and they see that on film and they recognize it right away. So the answer is I think they're picking up quite well. The point would be to take it from the meeting room to the practice field and then, put it all together on game day. It will not be without mistakes. I mean, it's sport, right? Played by humans, right? Like, there's always going to be mistakes, no matter how well they become accustomed to a new set of rules. There's always going to be mistakes, but yeah, I think they're progressing nicely.
Not to put words in your mouth, you've talked a lot about the process and ensuring focus is just on what's ahead, the one game at a time. What can it be a slippery slope, or what can your coaching staff do to ensure that some of those negative thoughts don't get into guys' heads about, well, we got to get a win this week. Like, this game is more important than another.
Yeah, I don't think you'll hear anybody talk like that down here. When you say, what do we have to do, I think we just have to continue doing what we're doing, because that's never been said down here, right? Putting too much emphasis on an outcome rather than a standard of preparation is fool's game, right? You want to be as steady as you can through a season, which is full of emotional ups and downs. Obviously, when the ball gets snapped and the whistles start going, it's an emotional game, right? People are trying to hit each other. It's an emotional game. But you want to stay as level-headed as possible. And then that's just for one play, but bigger picture through a prep week, you know, I don't think we've ever tied anything to an outcome more, once again, just making sure they uphold the standard of the process. Everybody does.
I know you touched on this yesterday. I wasn't here, so I just wanted to ask about the day off tomorrow and it being, you know, something you wanted to try last year. It didn't work out, but what do you hope to a man
I
is
hope that
accomplished?
nobody shows up to Winnipeg Beach. The old linemen are planning to be swimming there, and I don't want anybody to see that.
Is it
No, it's just a day that they get to spend more time learning their stuff. We just flip the day around just to see if they recover better. That's all. Somebody somewhere, Braden and I were talking, and he said, "Who decided that you're 1, 2, 3, 4 game day? Who decided that? When did they decide that?" I mean, the science has changed so much, right? I said, "I don't know." He says, "Well, do we have to do it that way?" I said, I don't think we do.
You're talking the physical science of body recovery.
All the physiology, the mental side of it, everything. We'll see what we get.